PDP and APC is like we are between the devil and the deep sea. So that is the position we are faced now.
So what alternatives do Nigerians have at this point in time to effect the kind of change that Nigerians want?
We have been traveling around the place, and we have had meetings, subterranean meetings, some open meetings, and we have come to the irresistible conclusion that the man that will be able to change or claim the unchangeable is Sowore of the African Action Congress. And that's why we are going to throw our hearts into the ring, and we are supporting wholeheartedly with our finances. We are going to mobilize students, we are going to mobilize market women and labor groups all across the country. And of course, we're also calling on all these political parties to stand down and support, including Atiku, and support Sowore. God, herein lies our hope.
It's not true. But you cannot also run a country with people with expired brains. No, it's true. And you cannot run a country with people who are archaic, who don't even understand how the world works. The Minister of Communication in this country probably doesn't even have an email. The guy from Oyo State. Right? Yes, he doesn't know how to operate. He doesn't know anything about digitalization. I'm telling you, since he came to power, I heard he's married more wives. I don't think he's bought more cell phones. But look at you, young people. You have the power.
You Smith. So please, I beg you, 2019 is here. And a government that has not done anything is winning election everywhere. You know what I mean? And yes, it's either Buhari now or Atiku. We're in trouble. So please, let us take advantage of the internet to start raising serious issues about our future. The black man is in trouble. We're talking of the white people, and we're talking of Trump. Let them have many Trump.
Yes.
What are you taking back?
We're taking this country back from the people who ruined it. People who ruined our past should not be rewarded with managing our future because they are taking us nowhere. So there used to be a country. They ruined it. They divided this country. They have put this country out of business, and we need to put the country back into business. We need to make this country start working, make it start functioning, make Nigerians feel like human beings again in their own country, so that they don't become a butt of jokes outside here, or they're not running through the Mediterranean Sea to kill themselves just so that they can get out of here. Yesterday night, I had a live show on Facebook, and the guy called me live from Tripoli. He said life in Tripoli, war-torn Libya, is better than life in peacetime Nigeria. Isn't that something that should be disconcerting? And we are here debating not with the real candidates now, because I'm sure probably somebody's going to pop up on your show, you know, and it's not going to be President Buhari, and we have 75 days to go. They are shielding the main candidates. And with due respect, I have to call out the media. They have also helped to, you know, mismanage and narrow down the expectation of our people by saying that there are only two candidates in this race. There are not two candidates. There are actually two candidates who are incompetent and clueless to take Nigeria to the future. There are better candidates, younger candidates, more energetic candidates, candidates with stamina, candidates who are healthy and not sick, mentally, physically, you know, and in other areas that are willing and ready, prepared.
So you are prepared?
Very prepared.
Let's talk about your campaign ideas now. You tag your manifesto as moving Nigeria forward. Yes. You have 3 pillars, 10 agenda items. Yes. Under those pillars, one of it is unity. And it's getting Nigeria back on sustainable growth.
Yes.
Those are your ideas.
So we have the 3 pillars are security, sustainability, and self-sufficiency. We have the 3S. So, and they will be the pillars upon which the 10 areas of intervention in the Nigerian economy will stand. And that is security and economic system that is all inclusive. We're doing restructuring, health, education, agriculture, and tourism and culture. But they will stand on this pillar so that Nigeria can dig itself out of this self-inflicted.
So you wouldn't have a focus as should you be elected as president? Are you going to have a major focus?
There's going to be all of these issues are going to be addressed simultaneously, because one cannot stand without the other. You cannot have electricity if you want to bring in investors that will take us from 3,000 megawatts of electricity to 24,000, and they cannot even move around the country because of crime, you know, Boko Haram and insecurity. You cannot have an economy that is working without electricity. You cannot have farmers take their produce from farm to market without infrastructure. So you cannot have employment without doing all of these things, jobs. You can't create jobs. The last time I came on your show, I broke down how we're going to create 5 million jobs. Since then, we have found out that we can actually do 7 million jobs. But you can't be done by people who have no ideas.
You talk about power, and that's a major one.
Absolutely.
A lot of people will understand how energy can transform an economy.
Absolutely.
You talk about transforming the power sector.
Yes.
Some of the ideas you put forward here look so much like some kind of magical powers that you have.
You tell me one that you think is magical there that we cannot achieve.
You should tell Nigerians how you hope to achieve it.
Because you mentioned it, but let me go there with you. How do we, as a country, live on 3,000 megawatts of electricity? That's not enough to even power the subway system in New York. We're wasting our time. We have 200 million people in this country. No one of them can go to bed switching on their bulb. But switching on and off a bulb is not power. It's powering the productive sector that makes a difference. And what we're saying is that, look, there is an opportunity for renewable energy in this world now.
And that's what you're going to tap into.
You will tap into it, and that will give us immediately 4,500 megawatts of electricity. Just sunshine. Okay. And you can do that by creating solar farms in the northern part of the country. They just did it in Egypt. They are doing it in Morocco. They are going to be doing that in Tunisia. Tunisia and Morocco are going to be selling power to France and Malta.
Admit to us that Africa is the only continent in the world where upon appointment into political office or upon ascending to the political office is as if you have won a lottery ticket to sudden wealth. In Africa, when you are appointed a minister, even the newspapers will say if you are appointed to the Ministry of Finance, he's been appointed to the lucrative Ministry of Finance. If you are appointed to the Ministry of Agriculture or Mining, they say you've been appointed to the lucrative Ministry of Mining. But when you are appointed to the Minister of Culture, they say you've been appointed to the lean Ministry of Culture. In other words, there is a sense in which institutions in Africa appear to believe that he who gets into public office has a license to be a thief. And if you look at many African countries, many African leaders cannot account for their wealth. They have stripped their countries naked. You know, when I look at some of the great leaders of Africa, some who will not be remembered so very fondly by history, I regret. Robert Gabriel Mugabe of Zimbabwe. Nyinyi Waswahili mnasema wali wa kushiba huonekana kwenye sinia. To say the things that he had done, he was the leading farmer, he was the leading singer, he was the leading intellectual, he was the leading husband, and he was the leading everything. We had monsterized our leaders, and they became immune from any kind of advice. Meanwhile, the African was suffering. The African woman who thought that upon attainment of political independence, she would now deliver in a decent hospital was still the victim of a village midwife. The African woman was suffering. The African woman who thought that they would now get water in a tap in their homes was still running 5 kilometers away to get water. Meanwhile, our monster leaders were laundering their clothes in France and in Paris. The African woman who thought that they would go to Kariakor market here in Dar es Salaam or Owino market in Kampala, Uganda, and get all the goodies, could not get them, because meanwhile, the Minister for Agriculture had agreed that bad seed be supplied, and meanwhile, we were getting mangoes from Europe. The African woman who thought that they could have food on the table could not have food on the table. We had killed all our sugar industries that we may have sugar from Brazil and Mexico. And the African youth was no different. The African youth who thought that upon realization of independence, there would be occasion for them to get employment, was now being humiliated at the embassies of the United States of America as he struggled to get the almighty green card. The young African who thought that liberation would bring something new was now struggling at the United Kingdom embassy, filling a document that is 50 pages long, being asked who their great-great-grandfathers were and what enterprise they were engaged in. And they could not stop there. They went to the Australian embassy and to the French embassy, and the treatment was the same. The African youth was being treated like a leper, like a pariah, like a subhuman being. And they were asking, for what purpose did we gain this thing called independence? And those who are not humiliated in Gambia, in Nigeria, in Niger, were crossing the Red Sea, swimming across the Mediterranean to go to Italy so that they may be enslaved anew. Meanwhile, the African leader was busy looting from their countries and buying mansions in Paris and in London and in Florida, and driving private jets and helicopters and being addressed as their excellencies and honorables instead of being addressed properly as horribles. Hygiene had disappeared in African politics. And what had started happening is that a new generation of African leaders who were dissatisfied started emerging. And one need only look at Africa in the 1980s when we begin to see the emergence of a new crop of leaders who are saying, this is not what we fought for. And I can remember so very vividly Ethiopia's Meles Zenawi in 1984 abandoning his medical studies and pursuing the Deg regime of Mengistu Haile Mariam, and he removed Haile Mariam. And there is a sense in which some hygiene has been reintroduced in Ethiopia. And I can remember here, God works in strange ways. Idi Amin made the mortal mistake of assuming that Tanzania and Mwalimu Julius Nyerere could be poked without consequence. He tried, and he died regretting it. And this became, indeed, many of you will remember that this University of Dar es Salaam became the finishing school of latter-day revolutionaries.
Take it back, action!
The TV and overfed ruling class did not only create wealth for the minority, their friends, cronies, and stalwarts, and hunger for the majority, but also created a people who see themselves as hungry Yorubas, hungry Igbos, hungry Hausas. The seems to have succeeded in creating hungry pastors and hungry imams. All this in the bid to crush the resistance by the hungry people. We shall be free the day we realize that there are only hungry Nigerians.
Take it back, action!
Yeah. Not be mock news, so news from the real news where they hear from. It's just to take style, they disguise them so that now we feel safe. But now here we hear when we come from Nigeria, they won't come mock news. I never answer your question. No. Yeah. I saw some pastors they shake. I don't know, say you and pastors they get
They like me. They say
politicians and all that. Now they hold people's feet to fire. Very important. But I look at it now, say we get opportunity now in a few days to liberate our country completely. When I look at number of voters who registered to vote, 22 million students, youth and students will register to vote. 50% of the voters, and the category of people they suffer past with that. If you feel just as I talk to you now, just look inward, redirect your anger and energy towards this project every day. In 2 weeks' time, story will change. I'm telling you, in 2 weeks' time, story will change. And as story change, level will change. And you will come get country, we say, you can't look Ghana self, say, I don't go Ghana anymore. You go inside Nigeria, you go from Lagos, you go where you go spend weekend from there, enter Port Harcourt, from Port Harcourt, enter Kaduna. Our country, the virgin territory for development right now. And we feel do it. I know, say we feel do it. I mean, they pay me. The most difficult aspect of this thing where they do. Now, to explain to people, say, nothing they possible. Well, they say it's not possible because people they cynical, they don't already bastardize everybody's mind, you know. And now the thing where politicians achieve for Nigeria be that. Say they don't create citizens where we say they don't even believe say things will change anymore. So now the hard work where they go through with that. But I want time to now say within these 9 months where we enter race, now don't support us where we are so the table where we think they won't shake, we don't break the leg of the table self. All these politicians now, they come, they run head-task. You know, see the other day, come on to let me come debate. They're not fit. Because fear they catch them. Because you know, so when we wish debate, the jubilee will fall for ground. And they say if word don't land for ground, you know, if you put them together. And are the truth. So I wish say now will continue to support us, so make sure so now tell our family members, mobilize everybody. We get surprised.
But how much they get money? How you think they get money? So they do
now donation now. Donation. We get GoFundMe accounts. People they donate from abroad. When you even say that people when they abroad they donate fast until we can't open any bank account for Nigeria. The donation we enter any bank past the one we come from abroad. That is say people will be at home. They even see this more as their project. We don't raise over 100 million naira.
100 million naira.
I'm telling you, in the last maybe 8 months,
100 million naira.
Yes, you don't pass 100 million naira. And donations for people they give 10,000, some people give us $1 million, some people give us 10,000, 1,000, people they give us 200 naira. Yes, as we do here now, when I get my alert, it's all full, and the money we take travel around all the state. We don't travel past all the presidential candidates combined together around Nigeria. We know where we never go. It's okay, we even go and carry game reserve. Maybe not only for secondary school or primary school where you not hear about the reserve. It's still there, but they go bad. We don't go everywhere. Don't go Gombe, go Kano, go Sokoto. We don't go.